Hey, what's good everybody? It's your boy Krypts here. We're back with another video, and in today's video, I am very excited to put out this video. Today's video, we're going to be doing a Hutao character build, a complete guide on how you want to build your Hutao. So, I did summon for Hutao, I did drop a summoning video. It was a very scuffed summoning video for sure, but we do have Hutao. I built her to level 72, her weapon's also at level 70. It's very difficult to level up characters for me right now. I am so low on resources and materials, so I honestly tried the best I could, and I still do some crazy damage even Hutao at level 72. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be showcasing her build and how you want to build your Hutao. So let's get right into it. So Hutao is honestly an amazing character. She is one of the best DPSs in the game, and her, her art, I actually really like her art. Like, she is honestly a very cool character, and I really do like her style a lot, like her art and everything. Like, I know she represents death and everything, but like, I don't know, man, she's just a very cool character art, honestly. So I'm very excited what she can do, and honestly I can use her a lot. Most likely she's actually gonna be replacing my D-Luke, because Hutao is honestly a lot better, you know what I'm saying? So the best way to explain it is Hutao is honestly a child version of the Pyro child. Basically, she's very similar to Child, very similar, except that she is a polearm user, but when it comes to abilities and all that sort, they are pretty similar in that case, right? So if we go to my details, right now I'm rocking a 52% crit, a 207% crit damage, which is unbelievable, and also a energy recharge of 117, which I don't see as a problem. I always get her ult. She gets her ult fairly quickly, so honestly, if you can get your energy recharge to 120, pretty good, pretty perfect. I'm running her at 26k max HP, 1500 attack, 895 defense, and then all that sort. So talking about her talents, so I right now have level 7 attack, level 7 guide to afterlife, her E, and her ultimate at level 6. When it comes to priority, I do think you should prioritize her normal attack first, and then probably her E after, and then I would say her ultimate is the last priority. So try to get these two leveled up first, and then the ultimate, I'm trying my best to kind of level them up evenly, because they're all good in itself. So, but when it comes to prioritizing talent level ups, I would say the normal attack is kind of up to down, basically. That's really how the best way to explain it. Now when it comes to Hutao's normal attacks, where you really are going to do damage is her charge attack. As you can see, her charge attack's at 200%. It does a lot of damage, especially when you use the guide to afterlight, when you infuse pyro into your polearm, which she is able to do. Therefore, you do actually do a good amount of damage with her normal attack, because if you don't know what Child does, Child has these water blades, and he goes attack mode basically with the water blades instead of using his bow. That's basically the same thing with Hutao. She infuses her polearm with pyro, and she does a lot more damage with her attacks. And usually when you're in the effects of the guide to afterlife, you're gonna be using charge attacks most of the time. Fortunately, it does take a lot of stamina, so obviously we'll talk about Constellations, where it will actually help you kind of decrease that stamina consumption. So talking about the guide to afterlight, very similar to Child basically. So increases Hutao's attack based on her max HP at the time of entering this state. Attack bonus gained this way cannot exceed 400% of Hutao's base attack. So her Paramita Papilio, I don't know how you pronounce it, increases Hutao's attack based on her max HP. So I know in the past max HP or even defense scaling hasn't really converted into high damage. When it comes to Hutao though, the HP actually does matter, the scaling, and it actually does do a lot more damage, and if you build her HP very high, right? So that's why when you're doing artifacts, you really want to focus on her HP. And obviously it converts attack damage to pyro damage, which cannot be overridden by any other elemental infusion. Charge attacks apply the Blood Blossom effect on the enemy's hit, increases Hutao's resistance to interruption. So this is why I said you're going to be using charge attacks a lot, because you're going to be applying the Blood Blossom. Now you're wondering, what is the Blood Blossom? Well, the Blood Blossom is enemies affected by Blood Blossom will take pyro damage every 4 seconds. This damage isn't considered elemental skill damage. Each enemy can be affected by only one Blood Blossom effect at a time. So if you guys don't know what that is, it's very similar to Child's. I don't have Child, I don't know what it's really called, but Child's kind of like, symbol that effects that he puts onto the enemies, and you do more damage, a lot more DPS damage when you inflict that logo, whatever it's called, I don't know what's actually really called, onto the enemies, right? This is the exact same thing with Hutao. And the best thing is Hutao's pyro, which I consider the best element in the game. So imagine doing all that DPS, pyro DPS into the enemies, right? So that's why Hutao is honestly so good, and her damage is absolutely insane. Now, her ultimate is also very good as well. As you can see, it's a very high multiplier. We're hitting at 400% and low HP skill damage at 500%. So what does it mean by low HP? Well, if you go to her passive here, the Sanguini Rouge, if that's how you pronounce it. I'm very bad at pronunciation, any words, English. When Hutao's HP is equal to or less than 50%, her pyro damage bonus is increased by 33%. So that's really good, honestly. So that's why you really want Hutao to be below 50%. Now you're wondering, how can you get Hutao, you know, HP to below 50%? I'll probably put a clip on screen right now. So basically, if you use her Guide to Afterlife, it actually, to activate it, it actually uses 30% of your current HP. So you're gonna be taking HP less. So honestly, when you're using her Guide to Afterlife, I think you can use it once and then maybe take a hit or two from the enemies, and then you just start going ham, right? It's kind of weird how Hutao works, because you actually really want to be below 50%. And to be below 50%, you kind of have to set up a little bit. And you know, we're gonna talk about team comps, if you should bring like healers or sort. We'll talk about that in a bit, but all in all, really, you want to be below 50% before you start attacking with Hutao. Now, her other passive talent, Flutterby, when the Parmita Papilio, I cannot pronounce it, state is effect. So basically, when you press her E, faded by Guide to Afterlife ends, all allies in the party, excluding Hutao herself, will have their crit rate increased by 12% for 8 seconds. So basically, you're going to be supporting your team as well. So she's an amazing DPS, and she also supports your team. So honestly, that just makes Hutao one of the best characters in the game, because she is so versatile, and you know, she can bring so much to the battlefield, right? So that's why I think Hutao is honestly one of the best characters in the game. Now, finishing up on Hutao's ultimate, so basically what it does is deals pyro damage and large AoE. Upon striking the enemy, regenerates a percentage of Hutao's max HP. This effect can be triggered up to 5 times. So basically what you really want to do is, you're gonna do a lot of damage if your HP is below 50%, and obviously you set up and everything. Like, Hutao's damage is absolutely insane. I can't wait till I actually max out her weapon and her ascension, right? I'm running her at level 70s basically, and I'm still doing massive damage to like levels 90s, 100 in Spiral Abyss. So Hutao is honestly amazing, and you know, her talents are absolutely insane. So make sure you guys have enough materials and all that sort, and more and all that, to build Hutao's talents, because she is absolutely broken and she is absolutely insane. Now, I'm going to be talking about Hutao's weapon. By far, the best weapon is the Staff of Homa. Why? You have a high base attack, obviously, and you also have a crit damage secondary stats, which is honestly amazing. And her passive is just built for basic. So in HP increased by 20%, additionally provides an attack bonus based on 0.8% of the wielder's max HP. When the wielder's HP is less than 50%, this attack bonus is increased by additional 1% of the max HP. So all in all, the Staff of Homa increases her HP, and you know, because it's increased, this staff is literally built for her. It really is. And obviously her attack gets increased as well, right? So this staff is absolutely by far the best staff in the game, and the best staff for Hutao, right? Staff of Homa is honestly insane. It really is. It's literally, this weapon is literally built for it. But obviously, not everyone's going to be having the Staff of Homa, so I'm going to be talking about other options that you could run. The Primordial Jade Wing Spirit actually works perfectly fine with Hutao. The passive is fine. You know, you also get a crit rate secondary stat, and obviously a high base attack, right? So honestly, if you have the Primordial Jade as the other 5-star and you don't have the Staff of Homa, then it works perfectly fine. But obviously, not everyone's going to have 5 stars, so we're going to talk about 4 stars. When it comes to 4 stars, the Dragon's Bane is actually not too bad. So basically, you get Elemental Mastery, which is actually not that bad when it comes to Hutao, and it increases damage against opponents affected by Hydro or Pyro by 20%. So basically, we're going to be talking about team comps, but I'll give you a sneak peek. Jin Q is very good with Hutao, so if you're going to be constantly proccing Hydro and Pyro to the enemy, this you know, weapon that's actually not too bad, obviously. And you know, it's a 4-star, so you might have some refinements on it. Obviously not everyone might have this weapon, but most likely a lot of people will have it, so there's that. So there are other 4-star weapons you can run. You can run the deathmatch. It's the battle pass weapon if I'm not mistaken. So you get a crit rate increase, which is not bad, and you know, it increases your attack and all that sort. So it's not really the worst weapon. And you can also run Blackcliff if you really want to as well. That's also another option when it comes to the 4 stars. I don't really talk about 3 stars too much, so I'm not really sure what you can run with 3 stars. Most likely, when it comes to most free to play you can run, I would say probably maybe Crescent Pike. I would say I'll put it up, obviously the stats. You know, that's probably the best, you know, weapon I could think of that's free to play, because I really don't recommend you running 3 stars weapons in my opinion. Obviously maybe early game it's okay, but like I said, I really don't recommend running 3 stars if you have 4-star weapons, right? So now artifact sets, by far the best artifact set for Hutao is Crimson Witch. I think the Crimson Witch is honestly one of the best sets in the game. I feel like it's very underrated, and you know what it can bring to the table. I really do think Crimson Witch is a really good set, so I recommend running the Crimson Witch set. So talking about Hutao's main stats, when it comes to Sans, we have something a little bit different. We're gonna be going with HP percent. So yes, you can finally use main stat HP percent is what I recommend using for Hutao. Her attack, you know, her DPS damage does better with the HP percent main stat on the Sans than if you put attack percentage. That's why you want to run HP percent on Sans. And Goblet, obviously you're gonna run pyro damage bonus because you're gonna be doing a lot of pyro damage. So Goblet for sure pyro damage, and obviously Circlet, either crit rate or crit damage depending on your ratios, like I always say. For me it's crit rate because I do have the Staff of Homa, which gives me crit damage, so I'm running a crit rate Circlet. And then substats, it's obviously normal, very normal. You want to focus on crit rate, crit damage like always, and then if you can, go for HP percent instead of attack percent. Obviously if you get HP percent there and attack percent there, it's not the worst, but obviously you want to prioritize anything that has crit rate, crit damage. And then obviously if you can, put HP percent in the substats, and obviously have a little bit of energy recharge for sure, because she does actually take a while. It's not a while, but like if you have 0 energy recharge, you're not gonna get your ultimate as quick, because with Hutao you're not gonna be rocking any pyro characters with her that I know of, so you really want to have a decent amount of energy recharge to get her ultimate a lot quicker, right? So make sure you guys have energy recharge every now and then in your substats. So when it comes to artifacts, there are other options you can run, obviously early games and all that sort. You could run a Resolution of Sojourner as an early game option, or you could run Gambler if I can find it. Yeah, you can run Gambler as well as an early game options. I don't know, obviously you probably don't want to invest too much, you know, materials into early game artifacts, but like I said, there are some people that play, you know, just got into Genshin Impact, so these are okay early games artifacts you can run. When it comes to like late game artifacts though, Crimson Witch is by far the best artifact. I don't think anything compares to it. You could get away with Lava Walker. It's not the worst set, you get that pyro res increased by 40%, and you increase damage against opponents affected by pyro by 35%. Obviously with Hutao, you're gonna be doing pyro damage basically 90% of the time. So Lava Walker is not too bad on the 4-piece set, but when it comes to Witch, you know, Crimson Witch, you know, it's just so versatile and it's so much better because you're gonna be using that 2-piece set and that 4-piece set as well. Therefore, I think Crimson Witch is by far the best set to run. And when it comes to endgame, I don't think anything else compares to Crimson Witch. So go for Crimson Witch. So like I said in the last video, I don't like talking about constellations too much, but I kind of want to go into Hutao's constellation a little bit. Obviously, it's pretty good. You know, you got your talent level up, obviously, but Constellation level 1's actually very good. So when you're activating your E, Hutao's charge attacks do not consume stamina, which is actually really good. Because like I said, when you're using her E, her Guide to Afterlife ability, you're going to be using charge attack most of the time, not normal attacks. You're going to be using charge attacks a lot because you want to affect the blossom effects on the enemies. So you're going to do charge attacks a lot. So, you know, Constellation 1's actually very solid constellation. Like I said, you know, it's very hard to get constellations on 5-star characters, especially featured, right? Because, well, not especially, but like, you know, you have that 50%, and then, you know, you also have pity you have to go through. It's a lot of summoning to even get one constellation, so there's that. But Constellation 1 is actually a very solid constellation for Hutao. Constellation 2 is actually not too bad either, so increases the Blood Blossom damage by an amount equal to 10% of Hutao's max HP, which is a very good multiplier. So basically you can do a lot more damage with Constellation 2. Constellation 4, upon defeating an enemy affected by the Blood Blossom, all nearby allies in the party, excluding Hutao herself, will have the crit rate increased by 12%. So obviously you have that passive where you have that 10% crit rate increase. Well, Constellation 4, you can get an additional 12% increase. So a lot more support for your team. Now Constellation 6, a lot of people thought this was a broken constellation, but I feel like it's not that great. So triggers when Hutao's HP drops below 25%, which is actually very low, or when she suffers a lethal strikes, Hutao will not fall as a result of the damage sustained. Additionally, for the next 10 seconds, all of her elemental and physical res is increased by 200%, her crit rates increased by 100%, and her resistance to interruption is greatly increased. This effect triggers automatically when Hutao has 1 HP left, can only occur once every 60 seconds. So yes, it's like a last stand kind of constellation. You know, you're on your last stand with Hutao, you can be doing massive damage basically, and you're not gonna die, right? But you know, it's only for 10 seconds, and you can only, you know, it only occurs every 60 seconds. So it's not really the greatest constellation in my opinion, because 60 seconds is a long time in Genshin Impact, you know. So I don't really think it's a good constellation, and obviously not many of us are gonna have a constellation, but yeah, it's an okay constellation, but I don't think it's like stupid broken, right? So team comms, yeah, there's some good teams you can run with Hutao, and team comm is actually very important when it comes to Hutao. By far the best character to run with Hutao is by far Jin. His, you know, ultimate, and you know, you're gonna be applying vaporized damage constantly with Hutao and Jin 1-2 punch, right? So Jin is by far the best character to run with Hutao. And then I would say if you can, run Zhongli or Diona. These two characters are very, very solid when it comes to teaming up with Hutao, because obviously you're gonna have below 50% HP most of the time because you want to do massive damage. And Diona is pretty solid because she puts a shield up, and also Zhongli puts a shield up as well. And the best part is if you go too low, right, Diona can also heal your team. Yeah, Diona and Zhongli are very solid. I think Zhongli is honestly the better support player, obviously because it's a 5-star, right? The best shield character to run with when it comes to Hutao. But obviously if you don't have Zhongli, Diona is a very solid character because you also have that cryo element every now and then, right? So it's also a very solid pickup. When it comes to healers, I don't recommend bringing healers on your team. I feel like you should bring, you know, Zhongli or Diona to shield Hutao, and you shouldn't really bring a healer. You could bring a healer if you need to, but I feel like I never need to heal my teams. So basically the characters, you know, the team around Hutao are just there to use elemental burst, you know, elemental support and all that sort, and then I'm just gonna be switching to Hutao and using Hutao basically 90% of the fights, right? So that's why I'm not gonna bring any healers when it comes to Hutao's. When it comes to like running with Hutao, right? You could run Bennett because you get that Pyros elemental resonance, obviously, you know, if you can find it. Affected by cryo for 40% less time, increases attack by 25%, which is very solid, and you also get that Bennett boost, right? So what I recommend with Bennett is if you're using his ultimate, right, put it outside, you know, where it's not in your way. Obviously it's kind of annoying that you have to do that, but you know, put it out, you know, somewhere else in the battlefield, like in the corner or something like that, right? And then, you know, go back into the middle and start attacking with Hutao so that Bennett's little circle ultimate thing doesn't heal Hutao, right? So you could get away with running Bennett. You can also run Fisho or Sucrose. They are very solid characters as well. And Chongyong is actually very solid with Hutao because if you can get his ultimate, and you could use his E, right? You can apply cryo damage to the enemies. So you could replace Chongyong with Jin if you want to, if you don't want to run Jin. And with Chongyong, you can, you know, apply cryo to the enemies, and obviously melt damage, we all know, does massive damage, right? So, you know, running Chongyong is actually not a bad idea with Hutao. So if you want to do that, you could do that. You can also run Kea as well if you want to proc better melt damage. I think proccing cryo onto the enemies is a lot easier with Kea than Chongyong, so Kea is not a bad option to run with Hutao as well. Other than that, there's not really anyone else I can think of. The team I usually run with Hutao is honestly this team. I like running this team with Hutao. Like I said, I usually use Bennett's ultimate in the corner and then go back into the middle and do damage with Hutao. but this is probably the best team I would like to run with Hutao. Like I said, there are other options you can run with, but I think this is the best team comp when it comes to Hutao. So obviously we talked about everything we could with Hutao, so that just leaves us with the DPS Showcase. By far one of my most favorite parts of the videos. I love doing DPS Showcase, and I really hope you guys enjoy it because you guys can see how much damage I do with Hutao. And you know, Hutao is broken. Let's be honest, Hutao is absolutely broken. I think she is the best DPS in the game because she is basically a Pyro version of Child, and we all know Pyro is the best element in the game. So I think honestly Hutao is the best DPS in the game. I think I'm gonna crown her as the queen of DPS. I think she's better than Ganyu and Zhao when it comes to that, you know, category. So Hutao is honestly amazing, and I'm gonna show you guys how much damage she does even as a level 72. And her weapon is not even max leveled yet, and she still does so much damage. So we're gonna get into the showcase. Hope you guys enjoy.
Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow. Who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you're with me. Let's take it. Me how we got here, cause you don't know how. You say we're taking on water, yeah, we're sinking now. You're looking all concerned, like we're gonna drown. But we both know how to swim, no worries, let's flow for now. Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow. Who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you're with me. Let's take it. I drag you out your mind, and there are days I hate you, but baby, you're still mine. And now we have the best times, no matter what we do. And even when we don't, there's nobody I'd rather choose. Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it.
So hopefully you guys enjoyed that Hutao showcase. Like I said, that showcase was Hutao at level 72 and her Staff of Homa at level 70. So basically everything's level 70, max artifacts and somewhat good talents, leveled up talents. So she has a lot more potential when I ascend her weapon and also ascend her character. So probably sometime in the future when I actually get her max out level 90 weapon and character, I'll probably do a separate video showing her true potential, right? But the fact that she's doing that much damage on a level 72 against, like, you know, 80, 90s, even 100 monsters, right? It's actually pretty insane. It's really insane. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed that video. Really would appreciate you guys to subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. If you guys haven't already, hit that like button if you guys enjoyed the video. Really would appreciate that as well. Y'all know the drill. Hit that bell notification, notifies you when I put up a video. That's gonna be it for me. Peace.